Hi, thanks for tuning in today. It's Good Friday. Good Friday is the most solemn day of the Christian year. And normally we meet in church on Good Friday evening and we have a service, we have a reading of the Passion story. It's a very solemn event, very quiet, and we sing some of the great Good Friday hymns. This year we are locked down. We, of course, cannot meet in church, and we have a great deal to be solemn about this year. People are sick, people are dying, people are working very hard in our hospitals and in our nursing homes, and we know that. So I thought this year maybe something a little bit lighter, a little bit more beautiful would be good for us to reflect upon and to think about. And so I'm bringing you the story of the Passion, but it is a story seen through the eyes of an Ethiopian artist. His name is Nebiyu Assefa, and he paints what I think are beautiful pictures. And he's done a series on the Stations of the Cross. Now, the Stations of the Cross are not part of our tradition particularly, and we have never had Stations of the Cross in Christ Church Delgany. But these pictures bring home the story of the Passion in what I think is a very striking and a very beautiful way. And I'd like you to spend a couple of minutes looking through them with me and reflecting on them on this Good Friday. The first picture is Jesus washing the disciples' feet. You will remember this is the reading for Maundy Thursday, and Jesus gives us an example of how to act. If you look at the picture, you'll notice the rich, vibrant colours. You will see Jesus on his knees washing one of the disciples' feet. Notice he is washing them with leaves, whatever is available, whatever is round about. Notice the people in the background carrying the jars of water and the jugs ready to fill it up. Notice the slightly anxious faces of the disciples. The faces are rather beautiful. They're very Ethiopian, very East African. And yet, when you think about it, they're probably much more accurately a reflection of what the disciples would have looked like than our very white, very European pictures that we often produce. The disciple having his feet washed looks anxious, perhaps a little worried, maybe a little ashamed that he is having his feet washed. And yet Jesus is setting an example of love and of service. And that's an example that's particularly appropriate this year. We have learned to value those who give service, particularly those in the hospitals and in the nursing homes, those who perform the most menial tasks for people who are sick. Often in our society, we don't value such people. We don't pay them particularly well. But this year, I think we have learned to value them. And I think we take to heart the lesson in this picture, the example of Jesus washing the feet of others. The second picture is the picture of the Last Supper. You'll see the disciples gathered around Jesus. Notice again the beautiful faces, the lovely rich colours of the clothes. And they're gathered around tables, and there are baskets of flat bread. And once again, the flat bread is probably more authentically what was used at the time than the white bread that we often use today. Jesus is there. He has the bread in one hand and the wine in the other. He's perhaps offering the prayer over the bread and wine. The disciples are gathered round about. You'll see they still have their walking staves in their hands, and they're gathered around what are presumably very African tables. And yet they're all there. And notice, if you will, over to the left-hand side, the figure of Judas. And Judas, under his seat, is the money bag, which shows who he is and what he cares about. This is the Last Supper, the last chance for Jesus to be with his disciples before the events of Good Friday. You will see Jesus holding a cup in one hand, the bread in the other, and we remember the words that he used. This is my body given for you. This is my blood poured out for you. Once again, it is something that we celebrate in church, and this year we're not able to do so. We hope before too very long that we will be back together again as a parish, as a community, breaking bread and celebrating together. The third picture is Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. This is a very different picture. Look at the colours, very dark. It's night time. He's there alone. He's praying. The disciples are in the background. Jesus asks his disciples to stay awake while he goes to pray in the garden. He's upset. He feels alone. He knows he will die. In the darkness, he prays to his Father to save him, saying, "But please, not what I want, but what you want be done." When he comes back, he finds his disciples sleeping. He challenges them to get up and to pray. The fourth picture is outside the house of the high priest. Peter has followed along after Jesus has been arrested. He's gone to see what happens to Jesus. And as he waits outside the house, as he warms his hands by the fire, he is recognized. He's a disciple. He's accused by one of the servants of the high priest. You'll see Peter warming his hands at the right-hand side of the picture, and the servant, the girl, accusing him on the left with her finger out-pointed. Peter denies knowing Jesus. And the cock on the left-hand side of the picture, the cock crows. The soldiers and the crowd are in the background, in the darkness, with their spears and with their torches. Are there sometimes times when we too deny knowing God by our behavior, by our attitudes, or by what we say? The fifth picture is of Jesus carrying his cross. The crowd is in the background, and you are invited to imagine that you are one of the crowd. You're watching this spectacle. The cross is heavy. Jesus bowed down under the weight. Simon is forced to carry it from him. Jesus is hurt from the whipping that he's had. And the cross is indeed heavy. This is your Lord that they're taking away. This is the one that you thought was going to save the world. But now he's going to die. How does that make you feel? Are there those in our community today who feel equally helpless and equally hopeless? By the next picture, Jesus has died. He has expired on the cross. Here he's being taken down. See Joseph of Arimathea ready to wrap Jesus' body in a linen cloth. See Mary and John in the background crying. See the wounds on Jesus' feet and his hands and his side. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, Jesus has said. He has cried his last, and he has died. Darkness has come upon all the land. Darkness in our hearts and darkness in our minds. Jesus is dead. We do not understand. A linen cloth will wrap his body. The final picture of the series is Easter Sunday morning. Mary is outside the tomb crying. She sees two angels. "Why are you weeping?" they say. "They have taken away my Lord." And then Mary sees the gardener. "Why are you weeping?" he asks. "Tell me where they have laid him," she says. Jesus calls her by name, Mary. And Mary recognizes that it is indeed Jesus. "Teacher," she says. Mary runs to tell the others. I have seen the Lord. This is the joy of Easter. This is the center of our faith. Something that is unlikely, even impossible, completely unique. But the Christian hope that out of death, out of darkness, comes light and life and joy. We seize upon that every year. We seize upon it this year in particular. I wish you a very happy Easter this year. I hope the joy, the light, the hope of the Christian message will enter your house wherever you are, however cooped up you may feel yourself to be. May the joy of Easter be with you as we look forward to new life, new hope, better things ahead. God bless. Bye-bye.